Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Today's our first Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. And we have a special guest, Leslie Zann. As you all know, she's our master trainer, and we're so honored to be able to have her here with us, exclusively with us this morning. And I asked Leslie to please talk about client retention and passive income, because in my opinion, that is the heartbeat of our business. It's what allows us to stay afloat and really give us that security that we are getting paid for the work that we did yesterday, last month, and last year, for months and years to come. It's so important for us to really learn and grasp that client acquisition is one thing and client retention is another thing. And it is our engagement with our current customers, or following up, checking in with them, really being interested with our customers, that allows them for them to stay and continue supporting our business and supporting our income. So I want to pass it to Leslie. I know we don't have her very frequently, so I don't want to waste a minute going through all the announcements. We'll talk about that later. So Leslie, thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. And I don't know why I cannot change my name. I think it's because on last night's Zoom, I clicked the button, keep me signed in, which was probably silly. So good morning, everyone. Do you know that I did a 7 a.m. call Monday through Friday every week for about 8 years? And so I like the idea of a 7 a.m. Now, I'm not suggesting you do it Monday through Friday for 8 years. I'm just saying you will get used to the time. I like gathering my team early in the morning because so they could carry all that good energy and all the good knowledge and maybe new scripts and new stories into their work day. It's not that it's bad having an evening training call, but I like the freshness first thing in the morning. So I applaud you all for being here early, and time is just a perception, right? I'm up at 4:30. So it's what you want to do with your morning time. All right, so Seema asked me to talk about retention and residual or passive income. So let's talk a little bit about retention. So first of all, why don't you go ahead and put in the chat, what is your definition of retention? I know it'll take a second to put in a couple of words, but what do you think of when you think of retention? Okay. Yeah, we'll have questions. Long life, holding on to them, lifelong customers. That's a good one, Sean. Okay, what else do we think of with retention? To uphold and continue. Okay, Gabriel, that's a really good one. To keep them. Okay, attention, continuum. All right, so retention is really the lifeblood. To make a sale once and not have it repeat, I mean, that's better than not having a sale, but the retention is really important. And I want you to think we have two sides of retention when you're building a network marketing business. You have customer retention and you have brand partner retention. So there's two sides of retention. And there are some similarities in what keeps customers long-term with what keeps brand partners long-term. So I'm going to try to break it down. We'll talk first about customer retention, and then we're going to talk a little bit about brand partner retention. Because I think in general, when people talk about retention, they go right into the whole customer conversation, where actually retention of your downline is just as important. And so let's start with the customers. What creates customer retention? First, I think it's trust, like any other form of sales. When you are working with your customers, yes, you are a salesman. I have no problem with that word. I've been a salesman my whole life. My grandpa was a salesman. I have no problem with that word. I have a lot of pride in being a competent salesperson. To me, a salesperson, I'm bringing value to those people that want it. And when they choose to work with me, they get excellent customer service in return through my follow-up, through my caring, through my question asking, through my desire to solve their problem and give them solutions. So I have no stigma tied to being called a salesperson. In fact, I dig it. I chose it and have been a salesperson most of my life. So sometimes when people come into network marketing, they have a real challenge with that word sales. I'm selling. Well, yeah, you are. You're exchanging some kind of merchandise for some kind of income in return. That's called sales. And it is a grand profession. So I want you to really embrace that. But let's stay on the track here for customer retention. What creates customer retention? I believe it starts from the very early conversations, the trust, that you ask questions, that you make them the issue and not your sale the issue. When you are very, you've heard me talk about when you're heart open, when you are forward facing, when it's all about them, then things like fear of rejection or a no, or, a harsh response or a no response, those things don't bother you in the same way. At least they don't bother me in the same way when I am focused on service. In fact, my screensaver, back when we had the Pong type of bouncing screensaver words, when laptops were together, my screensaver bouncing words were focus on the field. I'd say I've always been service driven. So retention from your customers starts with how you begin the relationship, with trust, that you do what you say. If you say, I'm going to call you back at 10 and answer questions, you call them back at 10. If you say you're going to follow up, follow up. Writing the thank you notes, right? Immediately. So I meet Seema somewhere and we exchange information and I say, hey, I'm going to give you a shout tomorrow. Give her a shout tomorrow. Like living up to what you say you're going to do in a timely fashion. So this trust starts from the very beginning. Then as they get their products, what creates retention is you being there with them from day one on the products. Walk them through how to take the products. Don't make assumptions. Maybe you give them some recipes. Maybe you plug them into, the different areas for customers that we have at Purium. You might even want to do inviting them to hear Dave talk about the products. I mean, that's credibility and whatnot, but making sure they understand how to do how to take their products. And then the reason we created the CSP, because I've always felt strongly that there should be a product protocol, a follow-up protocol if you are selling nutritional products, because too many people go, and I mean this when I say they go from burger eating, fry eating, Coke slurping to a green shake. And that's jars the system, right? So there could be a little detox in the beginning. That's not uncomfortable and not uncommon. And so you want to be there for them. So as you walk them into the program, make it simple, make it easy, share stories. They're all going to think I'm the only one going through this when they're about the gazillionth person going through this. So how you talk to them, assure them, educate them, include them in the beginning, this creates that trust. We all feel confident that they're going to dig the products. If you're like most of my customers, and this was always my language, if you're like most of my customers, you're going to love these products. So I always feel confident that if they take the products, if they actually take them, that they're going to get great results. And so I've firmly believed that if they love the products and they trust me, that I truly care, which means I don't just sell them the products and they never hear from me again until auto ship time. Right? That's a no-no. If I have literally gone through that first 30 days, giving them the CSP protocol and following up, I built this trust. If they dig the products, and then educating them on Smart Order. And Smart Orders should be talked about before they even become a customer. And it should be talked about as a positive benefit. Because I had an auto ship with my products. And I learned that if you talk about auto ship after the fact, that's exactly what it is. It is an afterthought. When you have your 1 or 2 or 3 bullets of the power of a Smart Order, convenience. Like, I'm so happy that this company gives you what we call a Smart Order, and we call it Smart Order because it's smart, right? You have your product shipped to you conveniently. You never miss a day. You stay consistent on your program. You're going to get better results. It's convenient. You don't have to think about it. So when you tee up Smart Order before you ever even sign them up as a customer, and then day of enrollment, go right from product to a smart order, again, it's just showing that you know your products, you know your services, you know the capabilities of your company. So you want them to feel that they can trust you. Now, part of this customer interaction, I'm going to take a little tangent here, but I think it's really important, is learning how to overcome objections. Like they're going to have questions. So it's really your perception of what an objection is, right? You know, I don't like green drinks, and I don't want to drink a lot of water, and, you know, I don't take vitamins very well, and I've never been on this program. And instead of just saying, dude, like just do it, right? You got to consciously move into where they are and say, look, I know there's a field, felt, and found. There's a couple of objection response. I'm going to talk about objection response because I believe this is a big part of retention. Objection responses. So there's two, and I've talked about this on Tuesday nights, but I'll give you a little refresher course. So there's two, I have two favorites for an objection response: field, felt, found. Okay, now they've been talking about this since there was cavemen. Okay, this has been around since Ugg and Erg were talking to each other. Okay, so field, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Let me tell you what I found. And I personally dig that, and I use that because that always felt comfortable for me, and that was always very authentic for me. Feel, felt, found. Now here's the thing about feel, felt, found. Don't say it if you don't feel it. All right, don't say it if you didn't feel it, felt it, or found it. Okay, don't make it up because they can tell, right? BS can be identified very quickly. All right, so feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Let me tell you what I found. And then you move them into options. Okay, another objection response that I like is if I could show you a way. If I could show you a way. So they're saying, oh my gosh, I can't, like a green drink every day, like in a shaker cup, and what am I going to do for lunch? And I've never done it. If I could show you a way to make this simple for you, if I could show you a way to fit this into your life, if I could show you a way to have fun with this, if I could show you a way that within a week or two, you're going to feel like, and then I always like to bring up what they told me. I want to lose the weight, or I want to feel better. I want to have better energy, or my guts bother me, or my immune, or whatever their situation is. If I could show you a way that in just a reasonable period of time, a week or two, that you could have better gut, or have better health, or have it, or be on your way to better gut. You never make claims. Would you like to learn more? So those are good objection responses that I've always felt were very authentic. There's tons, but I just think that these are the authentic ones that I really like. So meeting them where they're at, not making them wrong, and yet having that tough love that this is the program. Because if they don't follow the program, they're not going to get the results. So another note for your journal is being able to speak candidly. Right? I'll never forget when my mom first put me on my nutritional program when I was 31 years old. I was 40 pounds heavier than I am now. My cholesterol was 100 points higher than it is now. And my mother said that I created the Corona Dorito diet. Because that was pretty much my staples. Nice cold Corona with the lime and nacho cheese Doritos. So it's no reason why I was 40 pounds heavier. And I literally had that every day. That was my snack of choice. So when my mom brought me shakes and vitamins, and the idea of drinking water and eating something that actually grew from the ground was a big shift for me. Right? So she had to make it fun for me. So we got to realize you're meeting people who have had a certain lifestyle. I never woke up every morning and said, my lifestyle's bad. I mean, I could, okay, the Corona perhaps, but the Doritos never, chips, snacks. Like I can't remember consciously thinking I really have bad eating habits until I got educated. So I have learned that a lot of people really just don't know what they don't know. Now, granted, health and nutrition has a lot more cachet today than in those days, but still, you got to meet them where they're at. Don't make them wrong. And yet you want to lovingly hold them accountable. so that they take the program. They are on following the program. And however you do the accountability, you might say, hey, give me a text when you take your shake. Give me a text when you take your aminos. Drop me a quick note, just something to let them know that you care. Now, this doesn't go on forever, but the first 30 days, I think it's really important if you want the retention. So all this follows up under good customer follow-up. Now, I want to give you a couple of scripts that lead to referrals. May I? Because I really believe that when they love the products, which we believe they will, and when they trust you, more often than not, you will get referrals. So I had a system that the day I started her on the products, so let's just say Nancy with an I is my new customer, and I'm starting her on a ULT today. So my process is, and someone put in the notes before, unboxing, super good idea. Unbox together. If you handed it to them, unbox together. If it was shipped to them, come on a FaceTime and unbox together. I think that's really important, and part of that, showing them how to do the product. So thank you for adding that. That's really important. So Nancy with an I and I are starting on the products today, and we're going to open her box. I'm going to take her through the products. And then I'm going to show her how to take her program, how she's going to start tonight, what she's going to do with her apothecary, how she's going to start in the morning, how she's going to do her shakes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I always ask a question. Nancy with an I, have I answered all your questions? Are you absolutely clear how to take these products? I like to ask that because a lot of times people, because it's not rocket science, it's some bites, it's some aminos, it's a couple of shakes, apothecary. Right? So it's not rocket science. And yet some people are afraid to ask a question. Well, how do I make that shake? I'll never forget. I always told people, you can make it in a blender. You can put some non-fat milk in there, or some non-dairy milk, or some water, whatever. And this one guy called me up and he says, oh my gosh, I hate the taste of the shake. And I said, how are you making it? He's making it with Coke. True story. Ugh, I don't drink Coke without a shake, but I've never been a soda gal. He was making a shake with Coke. And I said, now, if we think back to all the options I gave you for making the shake, was Coke on that list? And he started laughing. And I said, okay, so of course it tastes bad. It's not made to go with Coke, right? It's made to go with, and then I gave him other things. You guys are laughing, but I'm telling you, we made a shake with Coke. So, but this is the way people are, because this is the way people are. So we got to understand that. Okay, so let me get back to my referral language. So Nancy with an I, have I been clear? Do you know exactly how to take your program? And she's going to say yes. Then most brand partners would say, okay, I'll check in with you in the next day or so, or whatever your protocol is. And hopefully you're following the CSP, Customer Service Practice Protocol. And so what I like to do then is say, okay, this is my exact language. So are you crystal clear on how to take the program? And she says, yes. I said, well, Nancy with an I, if you're like most of my customers, you are going to get great results and people are going to notice. Okay. So if you're like most of my customers, you are going to get great results and people are going to notice. And I built my business on referrals. Or if you're a brand new brand partner, you teach them to say, I'm building my business on referrals. So, hey, Nancy with an I, if you're like most of my customers, you're going to get great results and people are going to notice. And I built my business on referrals, and I would love to share Purium with them. But right now, let's just focus on you. So you plant that referral seed. I do that the day she's going to start on her program, right after I've introduced the products. Okay, so Julie Barr is saying, I always go through the box with clients on their first day. Of course you do. They got to know what they're taking. But then, hey, if you're like most of my customers, you're going to get great results and people are going to notice. And I built my business on referrals, and I would love to share Purium with them. But right now, let's just focus on you. And the reason I take it right back to her is because no matter how nice she is, she has not done the program yet. And most people aren't going to think referrals yet until they've started on the program. Now, in some cases, realistically, a mother might think of a daughter, right? Or best friends might think of best friends. And I would always add, though, it's super fun to do this together. Who do you know? Like, do you have a sister? You got a mother? You got a best friend? It's super fun to go on a transformation together. Who can you think of? And then you're going to meet everybody's mom. You're going to meet everybody's sister. You're going to meet everybody's best friend. And that's what could happen. So you plant that seed from day one. Did I speak too fast, or did y'all get the copy? If you're like most of my customers, you're going to get great results and people are going to notice. And I've built my business on referrals. And I'd love to talk to them about Purium, but right now let's just focus on you. And speaking of you, you know, it's super fun to do this together. You know, we haven't talked about that yet. Do you have a sister, mother, best friend? Like, do you have someone who you'd love to transform with? And they may say nope, because some people are very private. They don't even want their friends to know they're doing anything. Nope. Or some people say, gosh, you know, I've been thinking about my mom. She and I should do this together. And that way you can move with them. Yes, help them with the memory jog. So I share stories. My mother was the one that introduced me to this. I have sisters do it all the time. I have best friends all the time. Okay, cousins. So help with the memory jog. But if she says no or can't think of anyone, now we just let her go. And then you move right into the customer service protocol of the following up. And that's all laid out. There's no reason for me to repeat that. I've repeated that multiple times, and I'm sure you're very keen on that. And if you're a new brand partner on the call today and you're saying, what is CSP? I want you to talk to your sponsor. I want you to go online and get the CSP protocol. One thing about that, do not underestimate the power of regular follow-up in the first 30 days of a program. Our whole topic today, boys and girls, is retention. And that's important. They've got to know that you care. All right. So I put in the CSP, but let's fast forward. I chatted with her 3 days later, talked to her on her, you know, my second follow-up call. This is where I can start asking the questions that now I'm still in the referral, retention and referral. I can say, Nancy with an I, tell me who's noticed. Right? Who's noticed? Because she's, how are you feeling? And she's, oh my God, I got all this energy and I feel so good. And I had no idea. And, you know, I could run around with my grandkids, although Nancy with an I don't think has grandkids yet. But, oh, you do? Well, you are a very young looking grandma, Nancy with an I. So Nancy with an I says, I have more energy and I wore out my grandkids today. Okay, so now I can say, remember when I told you how I built my business on referrals? Who can you think of? Like, now that you have a sense of what this feels like, who can you think of that would like a transformation, who would like to improve their health, who would like more energy, or would like to drop some weight? Who can you think of? Like, this is my passion, is helping people with Purium. This is my passion, is helping people transform. And so she may be willing to share some referrals, but I'm going to share some stories. Right? While she's thinking, you know, Nancy, the other day, now you only say this if it really happened, but it happened to me all the time. You know, the other day I had a gal get such great results. She brought her whole family, like 18 people together on a conference call. And I was able to tell them all about the products. Right? Or maybe you say, hey, I had a guy who got such great results from a performance standpoint. He got all his running buddies and we all had a Zoom together and I shared the products with them. So who can you think of? I am happy. Like, I do this all the time, Nancy with an I. So if you have friends that you want to hear, hey, you just come up with the list. I'll give you some really simple invite language. We invite them to a Zoom and hey, let's help everybody feel better. So because I've built some trust, this will happen more often than not, but I'm asking her to do this. Okay. So I want to see this part through, this referral part through. So how often do you have someone say, well, I would like you to talk to my best friend, Silas. Okay, I want you to talk to my best friend, Silas. He's into athletics and he'd like to talk about this. And I say, great. And she'll say, okay, I'll give him. Now, how many times have you heard him say, okay, I'll give Silas your number, Leslie? How many times do people say that? I'll give him your number. No, no, no. So here's the objection response when they say, hey, I'll go ahead and give them your number, because that's better than nothing, but that's really not ideal because you want control of the lead. So when they say, hey, I'll give them your number, I say, you know, Nancy with an I appreciate that very much. But here's what I've learned. Most people are not comfortable calling someone they don't know, even when they want the information. So the best way to go about this is you send me Silas information, give him a quick text that your friend Leslie's going to call. I will connect with him and I will move this forward and I will give him the same great service as I've given you. Bam. You want the name and number. So to get past them thinking they're being really nice, oh, hey, let me give you, I'll give Silas your name and number. I really appreciate that. Wow, super cool of you. But let me tell you what I found. Most people are not comfortable calling someone they don't know, even when they want the information. So here's the best way to go about it. You send me his information, you text him, I'm going to give him a shout. I will connect with him via text, set up an appointment, tell him about Purium, and let's see how I can help him. I'll give him the same great customer service I give you. That is a trained skill. Some of these scripts I'm giving you, and you're thinking like, how does she say it off the top of her head with only a quarter cup of coffee in her already this morning? It's because I said it a million times. I said it, but what I learned is just me being good at this isn't the point. Getting my team good at this. So we used to have role-playing calls to where I would say the language and then we'd role play. So you can come up with the different ways to learn this, or Shima can send the scripts out to you and then you role play together. Once you say it once, it may not be perfect, but once you say it twice, it is. And once you say it 3 times, you don't even have to think. Okay. All right. Super good. What else on referrals can I give you? Oh, so she gives me the contact information to Silas. Hey, referrals have a shelf life. We're talking about retention and growing, right? So she gives me Silas contact information. Hey, I call him that day. You don't put it off. A referral has a shelf life like milk. It expires. And it's just professional. So if I get his information, I'm going to text him right away. Silas, my name is Leslie Zann. I'm great friends with, or I'm an associate, or I work with, or I'm the gal who introduced Nancy with an I to Purium. And she gave me your contact information and told me you were interested in learning more. And I would be happy to tell you more about Purium. Here are some options. Well, first I ask him, do you prefer to talk in the evening or daytime? And once I know that, I'll give you some options for us to connect. And when he writes back and says, I prefer evenings, then I'm going to give him 2 or 3 options, no more than 2 or 3 options. And it's going to be within the next 3 or 4 days. I'm not going 3 weeks out. But if he can talk during the day, depending on his work, then I'm going to look at my book and I'm going to give him 2 or 3 options, no more than 2 or 3 options. But I've learned that if I can pinpoint day or night, I'm saving this whole back and forth of trying to make the appointment because I want that appointment right away. Some people can talk at work. Some people can't talk at work. All right. So I'm going to pause for a moment with time. So that's customer retention. So far, so good. Put a 5 in a chat if I have been my usual thorough self and that you have got some good stuff going on for today. All right. Super good. All right. Now, brand partner retention. How do you retain your brand partners? Simple list. First of all, you got to check in with them. Number 2, you got to teach them how to be plugged in. Plugged in, meaning plugged into everything you're doing, plugged into everything the corporate team is doing, plugged in. They can't, because realistically, as entrepreneurs, we are all alone in our little office. I mean, this is where we are, and this is how we work. And so some of us are good at it, and some of us need a little more hand-holding, especially when they're a new brand partner. Right? So your ability to be inclusive and get your new brand partners to plug in early on so that they don't feel alone is really important. And then all the same things about trust and being candid and objection responses and coming up with solutions. All those things we talked about with customers is the same thing with your brand partner. In addition, though, for retention with your brand partners, you want to have them set their why, you know, you've heard me talk about their why. That why is that driver of behavior. And then we have the whole system in place, but really the foundation is the why. The why is the driver of behavior. And I've talked about this. When they do not have a clear and compelling why, my friends, they will come up with excuses. They will stay stuck. They will be in avoidance. They will be risk averse. They will quit because it's not important enough. But when they have a why, and again, I always make a joke about this because I don't think it has to make you cry. I think that's a nice rhyme, but I don't think that's reality. Okay. It just has to drive you to act. So it can make you cry or it can make you do a happy dance, and it can help you do both. I don't care. It just has to drive you to take action. It has to be that visceral, third chakra, solar plex. I'm doing this. That's what it has to do. That's what I believe. I think your why has to hit you in your third chakra. That's for me. Well, I won't get off on a tangent. I mean, it has to be in your heart for sure. And it's got to be in your head for sure. But it's that energy, right? You know, when you hear people say, oh, it's like I was punched in the stomach. You guys hold on just 1 second. 1 second, excuse me. No, wait, I'm on a conference call. Are you stuck outside? Hi there. Down. The solar, número 2, abajo. And it's the dark one, right? That blocks the sun. See? Okay. Perfect. Then everything looks good. Un momento. I'm so sorry, you guys.
Guys, in touching base, Leslie just spoke about her why. We did do a training last week about our why. So if you want to get clarity on how to figure out your why or hear other REM partners share their why, make sure you watch the recording from last week.
Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. That is the contractor in my house in San Diego doing the final things before the tenants come in. And he's there now, and I can't put him off because I can't put him off. So I apologize. So I'm sorry. Okay, so I was talking about brand partner retention and all the things, plugging them in, having them feel part of the group, recognition. Recognition is the key. Recognition and inclusion are both keys for retention. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, ever heard somebody do this, but this is just an example. And please don't ever do it. But in my day, if somebody sponsored, like if I met a Raw and I was going to sponsor him and I could see that great potential, people would go cha-ching. Okay. Things like that drove me crazy. They would never hear that come out of my mouth. What that represents is I'm looking at Raw as the kind of money I can make from Raw's activity. And that was sort of pervasive in my day. I never dug it and I never did it. Right. So Raw can't feel like, I don't want Raw to ever feel like I work with him for my personal gain. Now, fundamentally, we all rise by helping everybody succeed. And I'm not a Pollyanna that I don't understand that. But the more I help Raw step into Raw's greatness and be successful, everybody succeeds. And so that's the way I explain it. Patty, as I help you excel and move through the program, the team grows and we all rise together. Right? So I never want anyone on my team to think that I'm working with them for only for my personal gain. And I think downline pick up on that. I know they do, right? So building that candid relationship, if you want retention, you got to have nothing left unsaid. Like, this is a little more advanced stuff, but I think it's worthy of the conversation. Nothing left unsaid is super important. You got to have nothing left unsaid. If he's doing something you don't think is appropriate, or the way you communicate together you don't think is quite right, or you feel they're not really telling you the whole picture or whatever, like having nothing left unsaid. Having the same kind of conversation you would have in any relationship, because it is a business relationship and you're hoping it's going to be a business relationship for a long time. So treating them with the respect, but that also includes tough love. Just like with the customer, we got to make sure they're on the program. Hey, if Suzy Q is not showing up, if she's not putting in time, if she's not making calls, if she's not doing the drill, I'm not going to call her up and yell at her. I'm not going to call her up and go, dude, you're not doing shit. I'm not going to talk to her like that. I'm going to say, hey, Suzy Q, this is the qualifying question when someone is stopped. I say, hey, I take her back to the why. When you joined us, and see, I try to avoid the word me. I try to avoid my team, my this, my that. It's always us, right? That takes a little practice if you're in the me phase right now. But I say, look, when you joined us, your why was whatever it was. And then I would say, is that still your why? And if she says yes, I say, well, are you satisfied with the pace of your business? And then I stop and I let him respond or her respond. Right. So I take it back to her why. Hey, say, look, when you joined us, you wanted to get out of that job, or you want to be home with the kids. Is that still your why? Yeah. Well, let me just ask you a question. Are you satisfied with the pace of your business? And this should lead, if you're building the trust and you really have that heart open and with no judgment, this will usually lead to the conversation of what's keeping them stuck. Maybe they got a harsh no from someone they loved, or maybe they don't know the language, or maybe you're presuming they know what to do more than they really do know what to do. Are you doing the connect calls with them to get them in action, helping them get those first customers and those first brand partners? You know, and people say, oh, I don't want to ask a stupid question. That's what they're all thinking. And you got to give them permission. No questions are stupid. We all had to start somewhere. What's on your mind? How can I help? Those are two good questions. What's on your mind and how can I help? Because you can move them into the pay plan. That's how you're going to get retention with the brand partners. All right, there's some retention and a lot of scripts and a lot of copy. Okay, from a residual income, here's a few things I want to say, and then we're going to open it up. You know, authors get residual income. Paul McCartney gets money every time they play a Beatles song, right? Here Comes the Sun, which I happen to like that song. All right, residual income. Most people don't have residual or passive income. Most people have a job where you do work and you get paid, right? And even people in retail, they make a sale, they get a certain commission. What happens with network marketing, one of the beautiful things from a financial standpoint, when you build a successful network marketing business, is that income is going to continue, right? Because you have robust customers who are ordering every month, and you're going to continue to get paid because they're happy staying on the products, which is why you want to keep them happy, and the retention. This is why you do the work to make them satisfied. And with brand partners, as they continue to be excited and build their own business and build their own downline, and as you start duplicating leadership, duplicating dream building, duplicating entrepreneurism, that volume that comes in is going to continue to come in whether you exist on the planet or not. Now, none of you on this call have an organization large enough to walk away from this yet. There will be a day, however. It's not tomorrow. It's probably not for the next few years. But there could be a day in the future where you could work less because there are enough leaders on your team that are creating. I see this more like 4 Crown, 5-star Crown, Royal Crown. where I'm not saying you quit. What I'm saying is you work differently. You work differently. Now you're transferring leadership. Now you're transferring duplication. Now you're teaching people how to get unstuck. Now you are bringing this tremendous experience to the whole team so that you're impacting newbies, emerging leaders, and leaders. So there's no other business where you can create this passive income to where now in the short term, what you will be able to experience as you build a business, you get into those colored diamonds, right? Not a newbie, but as you get into the solid colored diamonds, you'll be able to go on vacation. You'll go on vacation for 4 or 5 days and you'll come back and your team will be bigger. That'll be exciting to you. Maybe you have a point goal for the 15th. Maybe your point goal on the 15th is 20,000. Maybe that's been your point goal for the 15th. Okay, one day that's going to be there on the 2nd. Maybe you have a point goal for 50,000 for the month. Maybe you're working in that area. One day that's going to happen on the 2nd. It's very exciting. And so that's the beautiful thing about passive. But to create the passive income, my friends, you cannot be a creative one. To create the passive income, you must be a creator of leaders. You must be creator of competent brand partners. The leader is an overused word, I think. You got to be a creator of competent brand partners who understand how to sell, sponsor, and duplicate. That is bottom line. You want to teach people how to sell, sponsor, and duplicate. All the hard stuff, of course, that's there. All the authenticity stuff, all that's there. But if I just had to take it down to a sentence, you've got to teach others how to sell, sponsor, and duplicate the system. Now, how does that happen? You have to talk to a boatload of people. So what do you think about prospecting? And so to me, I like this phrase. You don't have to like this phrase, but I always tell myself, hey, I'm just looking for nice people to talk to. That made me feel good. I'm just looking for nice people to talk to. I think that example on the call last night, Melissa, obviously was out looking for nice people to talk to. Talked to the guy at the car wash. 2 days later, put the guy's wife on a ULT. She was just looking for nice people to talk to. I mean, I think that's a perfect story. Seema has gazillion stories like that she shared with you. So it's your perception of that. So passive is going to allow you to grow up and have financial options. You may work your tail off for the next 3 to 5 years. You're going to grow as a person. You're going to change lots of lives. And then you will have financial options unlike anybody else who does not have passive income. That's the beautiful thing about it. But you got to earn it. It doesn't happen overnight. You got to go through the muck. You got to grow as a person. You got to be consistent. You got to work your tail off. But hell, you're going to work your tail off for 3 to 5 years for somebody else. And what are you going to have? A paycheck. You're not going to have the residual. So why don't you work your tail off for 3 to 5 years on your purring business and have the passive income? Exactly, Nancy, with an I, no muck, no lotus. And you got to find the joy in going through the muck and the learning curve. All right. Seema, my friend.
Hey, so I'll pick it up. So Leslie, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I actually took a ton of notes. Like almost every single word that you wrote down or that you said, I wrote down. I'm glad that you repeated a bunch of them because I needed that. And I'm sure that helped out a lot of people too. I was thinking like, man, I'm glad I can type fast. That's like one of the necessary skills in this business because we learn from so many great people like you. Guys, I just want to say that asking Leslie questions is extremely valuable because the way that she answers them is incredible because you're asking a question thinking that you're going to get a certain answer. And I've seen Leslie answer questions that Seema and I have asked her. I've seen Leslie answer questions that other brand partners have asked her. And the way that she answers them is like, it just brings you up another level from where you were asking it. She like answers it like at a ascended level. So please, I want to have this last 10 minutes or so. Leslie, do you have time to answer a couple questions?
Let me push back at 9 o'clock by just 10 minutes and then yes, we'll go.
5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes. Yep.
All right, so we've got time for just a few questions then, everybody. So if that's you, step up right now.
Yeah, we can go for 15 minutes.
15.
Yeah, I'm pushing my 9 to 9:05.
All right, well, I'm very thankful for that.
Yep, let's go.
Sean.
Wow, Leslie, that was so good. Oh my
Thank you.
God, incredible. So where I'm stuck, and I'm working with SEMA on this tomorrow, we're going to do a Zoom call. I'm really excited about that, is just getting brand partners, right? And you gave me a lot of great ideas. You know, we are going to do a Zoom call and SEMA is going to kind of take it from a different approach, but I'm curious what your ideas are for attracting new brand partners and maybe Zoom calls or other events that we could hold that will really help bring in people that may be on the fence or just, you know, I have a bunch of people that are having great results, but they are super busy in their own lives. And to think about taking on something else is a little overwhelming. So that's where I'm really stuck right now, because I understand for me to be really successful in this business, I need to have a team underneath me and a team underneath them and duplicate, like we just said, with sell, sponsor, and duplicate. But what are ideas for attracting those brand partners?
Yep. So Sean, how long have you been in the business?
About 3 months now.
Okay, and so it sounds like you're getting good customers, right? Sounds like you're putting, so give me a ballpark. You got 5 customers, 10 customers?
I probably have 30 to 40 customers.
Okay, 30 to 40 customers. So here's what I would say. You've mastered talking about the products. The fact that you got 30, 40 customers and you're curious how to get more brand partners shows me that you get what you ask for. So when you work with SEMA, I would work on language of what are you saying from the very beginning? How do you weave in subtly weave in that there is a business for this, right? With this. Say, hey, if you get great results, it's not uncommon that people end up joining me, right? Or listening for cues when people say, oh my God, I hate my job. Well, hey, just focus on the products. Maybe this could be something for you too. So learning, so it sounds like you're in what I call phase 1 and you're just super focused on products, which are great. I want you to have a robust product base. So if I was your sponsor, I'd say, okay, 3 months, we got these people. I would do 2 things. Number 1, low-hanging fruit is all your happy customers. I would invite them. I would give you some language. We'd come up with an invite together and I would invite all your happy customers to come to a Zoom if they want to learn about creating some secondary income or creating some part-time income. And I might posture, like, as we move into the holiday season, a lot of people are asking me about creating some part-time income. It seems like what I'm doing is more fun than going to work at a retail store, which it is more fun. And so if you have an interest, or if you know someone who has an interest in making some part-time income through the holidays and beyond, come to the Zoom. So I would definitely start with your low-hanging fruit and just come on a brief 20-minute Zoom, do a little biz up or whatnot, because we are going into a time of year where part-time gigs are not uncommon. And if they love the products and they trust you, there's a great group of people.
Great.
Next thing I would do with you is I'd work your list. Sean, who do you know? Like, I want you to come up with 30 names of the coolest, hippest, grooviest people that you know. Like the coolest. Don't make any judgment that they're too busy, they're too wealthy, they wouldn't do vitamins, they wouldn't do MLM, like just no prejudging. I want the list of the coolest, hippest people that you know, because people surprise us. And then I would start doing some connect calls with you, and I would do maybe help you with some invite language, and I would help you invite them. And we would do a series of biz op Zooms where you can invite them. Because really, once you get 1 or 2 brand partners moving and grooving, your whole attitude about it shifts, and then you're going to be attracting and talking differently. So those would be 2 places I would start right now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. You're welcome. You're welcome. Who else has their hand up?
I have a question, Leslie.
Okay.
What like you were talking, there was a part where you were talking about like speaking like I forget where it was, somewhere in my notes. Oh, you were talking about like, just knowing your stuff, right? Knowing the capabilities of the company, knowing your products, and the way that you're speaking about it was like very precise. And like, how do you elaborate on that to a new brand partner that maybe is like, how do I know all, like what can you say to somebody who's like maybe doesn't know much, and
Right.
like encouraging them on the journey to know
Yep.
more?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I do. Well, I hope so. I'll try to give an answer. Like, how do I help a new person move into that confidence, get that knowledge, and what's the way to
Yes.
do it the quickest way possible? Well, the
Yes.
quickest way possible for me is connect calls. So I'm a connect call gal. So if I sponsor a new brand partner, I want to do 10 connect calls as quickly as possible. That's just me. Why? Because when you hear me talk about Purium 10 times, you're a master, or at least you're a hell of a lot more masterful than you were not listening to me to talk, because I say good stuff. All right. So I like to do those connect calls as quickly as possible. In addition, the share because you care is perfect for this. If I have them spending 20 minutes looking at 10 stories and picking out their top 3 and then filling out the type form, they're not only going to get points, but then when I'm in my training with them, because it is labor intensive with the new brand partner, I'm going to give him or her 30 days. I'm going to know within a few days. For sure, I'm going to know within 2 weeks, but they deserve at least 30 days if they're meeting my, matching my efforts and taking effort, taking action. My gosh, if they look at 10 stories and pick their top 3, I'm going to spend 10 minutes with them and say, see, we do weight loss, we do gut health, we do immune. You've got these stories to fall back, and hell, you can just use these stories and send them to people, right? So they're going to build that confidence and start learning about the products through share because you care, and they're going to get points, and through connect calls, and through plugging in. But this is just my style. When I sponsor a new brand partner, no matter how big my team is, as I sponsor a new brand partner, the onus for that training in the beginning is on me. And I want to give them time early on. And so I tell them before I even sponsor them, hey, if we're going to work together, and I'm good, man, you bring me 10 people on Connect Call, or we invite people to a Zoom, the faster you let me talk to the people that you know, the faster you're going to grow. And then I would always assure them, and I am never going to say anything that makes you uncomfortable. I am going to be just like I've been with you, and you're confident with me to join me in business. I'm going to be that way with your people. So I challenge them to get me to talk to their people. It could be via Connect Call. It could be via Zoom. So we can do a lot of people. This is why we do a launch event. Hell, we do 2 launch events, 3 launch events. The quicker I can get into their back pocket, the faster I can help them learn what to say. You hear me talk 5-6 times, you're going to start learning what to say, at least enough to move forward. Does that help? Yeah.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yep.
Veronica.
Veronica.
Leslie, thank you. Good morning. Great training. I had two areas where I struggled, but you answered one perfectly about asking referrals. My other area is the closing. I love meeting people person to person. I can start with those connections, but I'm having a hard time doing that call to action. And I don't know if it's a confidence or a language. I mean, you guys have provided us all the language, so it's probably more confidence.
Okay, so Veronica, it's probably more confidence. So I'd ask you, why are you uncomfortable to ask for a call to action? Have you thought about that?
No, it's just I find it hard to, we're communicating well. I love the products. They know about the passion that I feel comes through. Is getting to that place where, well, how about you? Where are you? And do you want to create a stream of income? I don't know why I struggle with that, like moving
Okay.
that conversation with them.
Okay, so are you having trouble asking for the order, or are you having trouble talking about the business?
It's probably both. the order and the business. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have you signed up customers? Are you getting
Yes.
confident there? Okay, so, and then, so when you're talking to people about the business, you're feeling a little stuck about having them really take that leap and move into being a brand partner. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes, and I don't know if it's probably because I've been going slow, and so it's maybe not being able to, show them that this is something that you can be very successful at when maybe I'm not feeling that.
Okay, and that is probably it, sweet girl. And that's very smart, and that's very intuitive of you to know that. And just because you haven't got off to a fast start, no judgment for yourself, just know that you don't want to duplicate slow, and you are going to go faster. So I'm going to give you some of my favorite closing language. Okay, asking for the order language. Okay, so let's say you've talked to someone about being a brand partner. And first, Veronica, as you are building your confidence, I highly recommend you bring whoever your upline is on for some connect calls and listen to how they ask for the order. Okay, put the onus on them. As you hear the words that work, you're going to be able to just copy it. All right. But my favorite ask for the order is, hey, Susie Q, I've told you everything about becoming a brand partner to this point. On a scale of 1 to 10, where's your interest? That's my favorite line. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, where's your interest? Now, if they tell you a 6 or lower, they may not have a big interest, right? It may not be the right time, or there might be an interest. If they give you a 7, 8, 9, or 10, then there's usually just some unanswered questions, right? So a great call to action is on a scale. Okay, say, look, you've seen everything. We've talked about this. You met Raw. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, where's your interest? And then stop talking. That is a great ask for the order. Okay, another good copy that I always felt comfortable with, if we've said everything and it's time for them to sign up as a customer or to sign up as a brand partner, I would say, hey, Susie Q, if I've answered all your questions, okay, if I've answered all your questions, is there any reason why we shouldn't get started right now? And if I've answered all your questions, is there any reason why we shouldn't get started right now? And my usual response from her would be, let me get my credit card. Because you know, like, how much am I going to tell you? Okay. And for people on the fence, since I'm on a roll here, for people on a fence, right? They're not telling you yes, they're not telling you no. Don't let them stay on the fence. Look, Susie Q, you've seen it all. You've seen the video, you saw, or whatever they've done. Like, I've told you everything. There's nothing more I can tell you. Okay. Are you having a hard time telling me no?
Okay.
And that's not a joke. That's a real sentence. Are you having a hard time telling me no? Because, hey, I'm busy. I got stuff going down here. And that will usually get them to tell you why they're stuck on the fence. So I think for you to build your confidence, sweet girl, I would lean into your upline, do a couple of connect calls with them, listen to the things they say, and then it's just going to be a matter of you choosing to put it out there. Do not define yourself by being afraid. Do you hear me? You define yourself by being in a learning curve. Those are two different things. All right.
Leslie.
You can do this, Veronica. I believe you. If you can sign up customers, you can sign up brand partners. It's the same thing, just different words. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tessia.
Hi, Leslie. Hi.
Hi, Tessia.
I wanted to follow up on the launch call so I signed up as a brand partner in January, and then I had at the end of January, I had my launch call a couple days after, and I had 25 people show up on that call, and for me, that's a big deal because I'm single. I don't have like a big social circle. I live alone and I don't have a lot of friends. So that was a big deal for me to have those people show up. And then my upline pronounced my name wrong the entire call. So nobody bought anything. And I followed up with, there was like 2 or 3 people who were interested in the products. So I've been following up with them since then. so far one person has bought just Power Shake, nothing else. And the clients that I managed to get did not come as a result of that call. So I'm like, I don't even know how to like redeem myself. And I'm just like, if I spent like almost $800 on my very first, like when I signed up as a brand partner, I'm just like, the least you can do is like learn to pronounce my name properly. Anyways, I don't know how to come back from that. And everyone was kind of just like, who is this guy? What is this? They didn't really take it seriously. So basically I'm following up with people still all this time later. And they're just like, oh, I'm busy, I'll get back to you. And then they never get back to me. So I'm constantly following up. And the people who are interested, they're just like, I can't afford it. Why is it so expensive? And then they're not interested in the business side of it. And I'm just like,
Okay. So first of all, I will apologize for, I mean, not for me, but I will apologize for your sponsor not even bothering to learn how to pronounce your name correctly. So that had to have been a horrible situation. Hopefully you have squared him away now on how to pronounce your name. And I know that was a first exposure for you. So everything you're feeling, probably you're a little irritated, angry, disappointed, frustrating, that's all real shit and you should feel it. Okay. But we're not going to let that stop you. Okay. So that happened and there's nothing we can do about that. All we can do is move forward. Those weren't the only 25 people that you know. So the proof that you got 25 people on a call shows me that you have a certain amount of cachet within your reputation, which is a good thing. So if I were you, I would find somebody else in your upline, right? I might find somebody else in your upline to work with for this next one. And I would start working a list and pretending like you're starting all over again. All right. And have a different experience. Those aren't the only 25 people you know, right? And you do not want to spend the next 3 months apologizing because somebody couldn't pronounce your name right. You know what I mean? You can't let that moment, no matter how embarrassing it was, define the whole rest of your, think of it, have you ever been in a relationship? Okay, because I'm a single gal too, living by myself, so I can relate to this, okay? Think back to when we were in a relationship and somebody said something inappropriate or we hurt each other's feelings unintentionally. Did we want to live in that space for the rest of the relationship? No. Okay, so you're going to have to let it go. And you're going to have to, I recommend that you let it go with love, which is always better. Okay, he didn't do it on purpose. I don't know what the reason is. And it's not about him. It's about you and your potential to kick ass in this business. And you have two choices. You can keep focusing on how he blew it that night or how you're going to be a champion in this business. It's we'll give it a sports analogy. You go out and you strike out, right? You've just got called up to the big leagues and your first time at the plate, you strike out. Does that guy think he's never going to hit a base hit or a home run? No. Is he going to focus on the strikeout for the rest of his major league career or is he going to get on with it? So it was a big faux pas, a big error. And I appreciate that. So if I were you, I would journal it just right out of your system. Well, a guy could have known my name and I felt bad around my friends and the whole thing was for shit and da-da-da-da-da. And yet it is not going to keep me from being a champion in this business. And then you find someone in your upline and you set new goals, you get a new list and you move forward. This is one of those times, sweet girl, where we just have to learn to lovingly put whatever hurt behind us and look forward if you care enough. And if you really want to build a Purian business, you've got to just put it behind you and move forward, or it's going to keep you in the muck for no reason because it's not going to impact him, whatever. You got to decide to go forward.
Yeah, I understand that. And then I didn't get invited to team events because I wasn't posting on my social media. And I'm just like, can I not just be included because I'm part of the team? And like, what is that about? You know?
Okay, so this whole thing is about you're not having good relationship with whoever enrolled you. So I would talk to Seema and find someone in your upline, or Ra, find someone in your upline that's going to be inclusive, because all this energy you're having is not about your inability to build this business. It's because you're not feeling seen and heard and respected by your mentor. That's what I'm hearing. And if that's the case, I want you to talk to Seema, figure out a solution to this so that you can go be the ass kicking to see it that I know you can be.
Thank
Our
you.
sponsor does not have the right to slow us down or impact us negatively in any way. And if they are not functioning appropriately, you're going to find someone in your upline that can help you, period. Do not let that person keep you from being wildly successful. Okay?
Thank you.
I'm not making excuses for them. I'm saying you can't change it. You can change how you move forward, move from now on. We can't pick our parents and we can't pick our sponsors. One of those things in life, but you can choose who you're going to get to work with now and go be wildly successful. And there is somebody above you that's going to hold your hand and help you march through this pay plan.
Okay.
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 I'm
Thank you.
sending you a hug, a huge hug.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank
You've
you.
got this. You call Seema or Ra. I'm not sure which leg you're in. You call Seema or Ra Aptis, or Seema or Ra are going to reach out to you and they're going to look at the downline and figure this out. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweet girl. All right, Ra, that's my time, baby.
Yeah. Thank you so much for staying late, Leslie.
Okay.
It was powerful.
All right. Somebody take
Thank
care
you.
of that girl.
Will
All
do.
right. What a great team. Ra, Seema, what a great team. Big time. Okay, you guys, middle of November. You've heard me last night, what you do now. So take what you learned today and put it into practice. This is one of those pivotal months, and I believe in you. All right.
Thank you,
Ra,
thank you,
Seema,
thank
Thank
you.
you,
You're
Leslie.
welcome.
That was
Thank you,
amazing.
thank
Thank you.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
I will
much.
see you on a future call. All right, my friend.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thanks, everyone.
You're
Have a
welcome.
Thank you,
great day.
Leslie.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Ra, thank you,
Bye-bye.
Seema.
Ra,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Seema.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, honey.